Jeff Black. Welcome to My Music right here on Power TV Australia. And coming up in this edition, I'll be chatting to Kerry Wright. Now, Kerry's the bandmaster for Chapter 3, and Chapter 3 recently performed at the Here We Go Again with a little help from my friends concert. Well, I snuck a camera into their rehearsal sessions a couple of weeks ago and captured a great rendition of Kerry and the boys running through the great Chicago track 25 or 6 to 4. They were rehearsing the vocalists and the brass section. That's coming up a little bit later in My Music, along with my chat with Steve Towson. Now, Steve's the Chief Librarian and Curator of the Australian Cultural Museum in Toowoomba. Now, their mission is to preserve some rather rare Australian recordings in literature and spoken word and music. I'll speak to Steve in a little while about his role with the Australian Cultural Library and where it's going. But first up, Brittany Wilson, the lead singer of the Brisbane Skies Collide, has a wonderful connection to the Darling Downs. Brittany's a Toowoomba girl, born and bred on the farm at Maringandan, and these days, to further her career, spends time between Brisbane and Sydney with the band. They've recently released a new album called Skies Collide, The Dream and the Lie. It's a great album. It's been on my CD player incessantly over the last few weeks, something certainly worthwhile checking out. Now, I chatted to Brittany about her career, her inspiration for songwriting, her heroes, and what's next for Skies Collide.
I guess we just love writing music, and we just wanted to have something that represented ourselves and everything that we were going through at the time. We wrote all the songs. The title of the album it actually comes from a lyric in one of the songs called Come Alive. So in that song, when I sing that line, the rest of the lyric is I'm awake from the dream, the lie. So I think the meaning behind that is just waking up and seeing and realizing what's important in your life and what isn't. So it's just kind of seeing through the rubbish, really, to find what really matters to you. So I think that's basically where we're coming from.
And Brittany, you spoke about songwriting. The band is credited, so I'm guessing it was a collaborative effort.
Yeah, that's right. We've got 3 full-time members at the moment. We've got Liam on guitar, and he does most of the songwriting as well. And then his brother is on bass. So it's a bit of a family collaboration as well.
And you do all of the vocals?
Yeah, that's right.
And your influences, Brittany, who's inspired you?
Yeah, so on a personal level, I would definitely say people like Amy Lee from Evanescence, Hayley Williams from Paramore, and Ella Hooper from Killing Heidi, a great Australian band. They're definitely my personal influences anyway, that I saw them in bands. I saw them up there on the stage, and I thought, that's amazing, and I'd love to be able to do something like that. And then in terms of the band, there's a couple of great Australian bands, the Getaway Plans and Hands Like Houses, where we really love those bands and definitely influenced by them. We're also influenced by a lot of American bands as well, and from the UK too. So there's a band called Sayerson and Paris, and then Architects from the UK as well.
You've got a real synth sound. A lot of the tracks start with synth, and there's some pretty heavy-duty guitar work going on there too.
Yeah, that's right. So the synth never really used to be a part of the sound when we first started out, but I guess we wanted to get the songs to sound to have a bit more of a modern sound, so the synth is quite a common thing to include, particularly in our genre these days, so we definitely wanted it in there, and we think it made a huge difference. We had someone actually come in and help us with it, so it was really great to do that.
And the engineering is really well done too. It's a good listen. It sounds crisp.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we love it. Our producer did an amazing job with the producing and the mixing, and he mastered it as well. So yeah, he did an amazing job.
And Brittany, all done in Brisbane, all recorded in Brisbane. Whereabouts? What studios did you use?
Oh no, actually we went to a studio called Electric Sun, which is in Blacktown in Sydney.
Oh, right.
So we went down there. We were there for about 6 weeks, I think. Recorded with Dave Petrovic.
Mm-hmm.
We just loved all the other bands that he's recorded before, and we thought he'd probably be the best fit for us in terms of helping with our songwriting a little bit, just fine-tuning things.
Have you been taking the album out on the road, primarily studio, or you've been doing a little bit of live work as well?
Yeah, so far we've had a couple of shows since it's been out. We did our album launch at the Zoo in Brisbane last month, I think it was. But we've got plans to try and get out there and tour probably early next year. So we're in the works. That's in the works at the moment. We're trying to organise all of that.
Well, you're going to have to include Toowoomba on the schedule, because I've heard it on good authority, Brittany, that you have a very strong Toowoomba connection.
Yeah, that's right. So I grew up just outside of Toowoomba in a town called Meringendam. Pretty much no one's ever heard of it.
Oh, I have.
Yeah, well, that's good. And I went to school in Toowoomba.
And family still living in Highfields, I think, aren't they?
No, they're still at Meringendam. It's at the same farm I grew up on. So
the album is out. You're looking to follow it up. What are the plans for Skies Collide?
Yeah, we're kind of
You're still probably thinking about this album.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out, really just trying to find our feet, I guess. So we're definitely just focusing on getting as many shows and trying to get tours to play this album as much as we can. And then after that, I honestly have no idea at this stage. Our guitarist Liam is always writing, so he does a bit of recording as well. So we've got a bit of a home studio going, and he's always just writing bits and pieces here and there. But yeah, nothing's really been completed yet. It's just keeping the ideas flowing, which I think is really important. So we're not getting blocked at any point. It's good to keep it flowing, I think.
Here at Power FM, we've been playing the album amongst the guys, and we all agree that Be Enough is a terrific song. We're going to play Be Enough. Any special memories of the recording of Be Enough?
Oh, this one's a really interesting one, actually. When we were recording it, it was a completely different song. It was a lot faster, a lot heavier, with more guitars and stuff going on. And our producer just wasn't having a bar of it, basically. So he said, look, just strip it down, calm it down a bit, and take it away and have another look at it from a different angle. So we did that, and I wrote the verse for it, and it kind of flowed from there into what it is now. And it's something I never really would have expected to have come out of us. It did, and yeah, we're pretty proud of it.
I'm always waiting for a sign, something to tell me I should trust my insides. Am I just in over my head with every decision a second guess? There is a part of me waiting to turn back. I built this place for my own, but a prison is not a home. Won't close the door before it's begun. I have to let this be enough. I'm always looking for direction. I need to know what it's like to move without restriction. I like to chase away the shadows on the path. My fears take forms of their own. I have to leave them in the dark. I built this place for my own, but a prison is not a home. Won't close the door before it's begun. I have to
Playing indoor netball, cricket, soccer, dodgeball and volleyball is a great way to keep fit and catch up with friends, and the place to go and play any or all of these sports is Action Indoor Sports. There are competitions for juniors and adults of all levels of ability, from beginners to the most experienced. Action Indoor Sports is home to Inflatable World, an inflatable theme park for all ages, and new and coming soon, indoor softball. Go and see for yourself. Action Indoor Sports is located at 31 Spencer Street, Toowoomba. Check out the website toowoombaindoorsports.com or phone 4635 9999.
Hi, this is Sarah and Bron staying cool at Hip Pocket Toowoomba.
Lightweight cotton work shirts in a huge range of colours.
Shorts, water bottles, sunscreen.
Come in and see us 6 days, or we are happy to post to you.
At Hip Pocket, we rock it.
Too much debt? Fixed. Too much stress? Fixed. Too many hassles? Fixed. Central Liaisons has helped thousands of Australians with too much debt. You have options, so call today on 0409 344 070.
Break out the popcorn, sweets and drinks. It's Sunday night at the movies. Latest release movies brought to you exclusively by US filmmakers, including Leva Films. Sunday night at the movies, so join us every Sunday night at 7 p.m. right here on Power TV Australia.
Steve Carson, welcome to My Music. Steve, you're the driving force behind the Australian Cultural Library here in Toowoomba. What was the inspiration for developing the library?
I suppose there's many different, kind of individual catalysts for coming together of the concept. I suppose mainly just seeing how much culture that is out there that Australians create. So everything, you think music, you think all the sub-genres within music, and then you've got visual arts, you've got poetry, plays. So it's to bring all that stuff together in one place that's clearly identifiable as culture of Australia, to highlight the diversity, but also to kind of pay respects in a way to the amazing stuff that people have done to get what we have today referred to as Australian culture.
And I guess that's been a real challenge for you, because a lot of this people don't see as having cultural or historical significance. They see it as something that's fairly short term.
Yeah.
Not kept, thrown out. You must have had some challenges even collecting material.
Yeah. When we first started, it was pretty much a few volunteers. The collection was comprised of what they had that they wanted to donate that was Australian. And then over the time, seeing how much stuff is just removed from libraries because it's not borrowed enough, which then kind of says to some people that it's not relevant or desired by the general public. Whereas if you look at Australian culture, it can take a while for someone to actually become aware of an artist that exists. Like we have a lot of people who do art. We have a lot of foreign music and foreign art that comes to Australia, so we're very global in that regard. So quite often artists can get swamped in that big pool of musicians and artists and poets. So yeah, I suppose, yeah, there's a lot of different aspects to the reasons for starting it and the complexities of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your special bias? What did you have an interest in particularly?
Yeah, so being a musician, yeah, just having toured and played music all around Australia in capital cities, regional towns, and seeing how much amazing stuff is out there from, Melbourne through to Cairns. You can have an amazing band start up in Townsville, might go for 3 years, then they break up. And it's kind of a privilege and an honour to be able to be exposed to that band, because not everyone will get to know that they exist, even within a town like Townsville. And then thinking, well, you know, like, if I've had access to this, it's kind of cool to try and let other people also gain access to it as well.
And there's really no sort of time period, is there? It's virtually way back till right now.
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, like we'll have stuff in the library that goes back to the 1800s. There's stuff that's brand new releases that will get donated from. Either someone might buy it and donate it to the library, or the musicians themselves might do it. Yeah, it's good because seeing it all in one place at one time, you can get access to the past as well as the present of Australian culture. And you know, some things, you know, people might have a perception that traditional culture was all prim and proper, but then when you start scratching the surface for some music, for example, or even Norman Lindsay, some of his artwork was very risque. So our attitudes over time go through variations, I think, as well. So having it together, you get to see that over time.
And I guess I would say that if I was doing that, well, there's nothing new under the sun. That's been done before, because I can see in the library, you know, echoes or traces of that being done in the 1920s. You know, you think of popular music of the 70s particularly, they mined a lot of tracks from the 20s, 30s, 40s and just rocked them up.
I suppose that's the thing is, like, for example, you might have something that's recorded on, say, a gramophone record. When vinyl came along, it looked really exciting and new. So someone who's young might go, well, gramophones are old and, you know, they've had their day. So they'll buy the new recordings on vinyl, not even being aware that the songs might have already been originally on gramophone. Nothing's changed lyrically, even musically sometimes they don't even change. And then you get this cassette culture that came in, then you get CD culture, then digital. So you get the various stages of things being sold and people thinking that the new product is somehow better than the past product. They're just different formats.
I know you're very, you see that primary sources are very important. Always go back to primary sources. Now, it's more than just looking at the material, it's how that material was presented, the format in which that material was presented. Now, for paper-based products like art and writings, you know, paper's been around since the Bible. But for more technologically advanced, and I use that term fairly loosely, those formats haven't been around all that long, but there's generations of people who have no concept of those formats. And I'm thinking of things like pianola reels, wax cylinders, you know, circular cylinders, even cassette tapes to people are a strange animal.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's easy to get confused with different formats and get confused between that and the content on the format. So, I mean, someone could be listening to, right now driving to Brisbane, they might be listening to a pub with no beer on through their iPhone being connected to their car. And there's no difference between that and a really good quality gramophone if you're listening to the lyrics and it's the sound. Like there's the difference in, you know, there's differences in sound quality, but I think most people when they listen to a song, for example, they are actually listening to the content. And to me, whatever format that comes in is not important. It's the importance is to make sure if you do have the primary source that you can show that this primary source on gramophone is exactly the same or is different to what you're listening to on iPhone. Or, you know,
on a digital device.
Yeah, because if you don't have the original, then you know your pub with no beer might not even be that. It might be Lights on the Hill or something. Someone might just have mistagged.
That particular track in Pub with No Beer has disappeared. Iconic, iconic Australian song. Let's just stay with that for a little bit. The challenge there, of course, is not so much having those formats, is actually trying to play up those formats.
Yeah, and that's something that people have thought the library in some regards should be called a museum because we have wax cylinder player and gramophone player and pianola. But from my point of view, the reason we have those things is so we can actually access the original formats. So we can go, well, actually, if you look at the gramophone recording here, it's 3 minutes 20 seconds. The cassette recording is 3 minutes 20 seconds, but the digital version is only 3 minutes. Has something been edited from the original format?
That's an important point you make there.
Yeah, because you know, there's always different remakes of songs, and if someone has the master copy, then they can edit things in or out of the song. There's a lot of songs that have been remade as a dance song, so a constant kick beat put in the song. But if you don't have the primary version of it, you can't actually, you can say, well, it wasn't in the original, but unless you have the evidence,
yes,
it can just appear as though it's your opinion rather than fact.
I know that you have a special section just devoted to film,
yep,
and that you've acquired a number of Australian films in different formats. That must be exciting to start to at least make those films available. I know that that's a challenge in doing that, but at least they are out there again.
Yeah, yeah, we have a large collection of Queensland films, which was referred to as the QPix. They're from QPix, a not-for-profit, that went insolvent, and it's believed it's possibly the largest collection of Queensland films in the world. That's what I've been told. So we managed to save that from being shredded because the organisation went insolvent and they couldn't find anyone else to take on these physical items. So we managed to get a couple extra rooms to house them. And since I think the beginning of this year, we've had a film curator. He's started digitising some of those films because some of them are on VHS, some are on Betacam, some U-matic.
Even film, I guess, even reels of film.
Yeah. And it's a lot of people's hard work it's one of the scary things with cultural systematic destruction where someone goes, well, all this stuff hasn't been borrowed, it's not popular, or no one knows who these people are, so therefore we shouldn't bother keeping it. Even if we don't know who the musicians are, or even, you might not like it. It might be musically or video-wise, it might just be bad productions, but it's still someone's hard-earned,
sweat and tears, and there is intrinsic value in that.
Yeah, and if it's your, if you found out your great uncle was in a film that you never saw, and maybe he's passed away or something, and you would like to explore his passions when he was younger or while he was around, if there's ways of keeping those memories and the passion and the hard work all around as long as we can, we should, as a society, it's a bit disrespectful to go, well, it's a little bit hard, we might need a bit more space. You have to try and work really hard to overcome those, what I see as essentially superficial obstacles, because, when you look at Australian culture and the destruction that occurred with Indigenous culture, it's a great example to go, okay, well, how are we going to rectify these situations and how are we going to move forward in a stronger manner? And if we then turn around and say, well, this book wasn't borrowed within the last 2 years, we have, in regards to Indigenous stuff, there's one book, I think there's one artist we have, an author, she's passed away, but there's at least 2 or 3 books we have of hers, and her son has never read her works. So that's kind of a nice thing to be able to keep. So when he's ready, he knows you can come into the library and access that really personal connection to something. And to somebody else, it's a thing, it's a book, but to that person, it would be, kind of that living memory of a loved one. So.
Are you seeing lots of Toowoomba and Downs-centric material coming in, or have you cast your net wider, or have you been fortunate enough to get it from a wider area?
Yeah, I was talking with someone earlier today about the bizarreness of the feeders, the feeder network that comes in. So we have many Lifeline Bookfests donate to us, many different council libraries, university libraries. We have individuals who collect stuff for us all around Australia in different groups. And it's interesting because we found a book at the recent Sunshine Coast Book Fest that was from the Rocky Library. And then we found stuff at Yeppoon that was from the Toowoomba Library. And then we found down at the sands at Emu Park at the Toowoomba Lifeline Book Fest. So it's interesting when you look at objects themselves and how someone could say, well, everyone in Toowoomba, they are like this. But then as you get objects that have been bought in Sydney, it might be bought at, you know, Brown's shop at Sydney.
Central Sydney.
Yeah. And then the person will write their name in it and their address. So it might be John Smith from Wollongong. And then if you collect it from, say, Lifeline Bookfest in Toowoomba, this object has travelled around. And if it's travelled with the same person, then it means all the different areas that are around the place, it's not necessarily, there's not an attribute just can be specifically placed on that place, and anyone who's from that town is all like this.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I think Australians have been very, very transient in our history. Like, you live in Sydney for a while, then you might live in Cairns, then you might migrate to Toowoomba and spend, you know, the rest of your life in Toowoomba or somewhere else.
And you bring that with you. You bring that.
And then you might pass it on to your next neighbour who goes, oh man, I really love this book, can I borrow it? Yep. They never return it. And then they give it to an off-shelf.
Steve, one thing that I've noticed in talking to musicians, particularly in this area, whilst there are some aspects that are unique, really the whole idea of, and I speak about music here, that's my area of specialty, that when you expand that out, it's not all that different. It's that, you know, we were mates, we got together, we could play instruments a little bit. It was a good way to meet girls. We found that we could make a little bit of money from doing what we liked. We got a bit more serious. We got a manager. We got shafted. We married and we broke up.
I mean, and especially that aspect you were talking about, like, you know, some friends get together, form a band. If they put out a cassette or a CD or an album or, you know, vinyl, then if, you know, there's some bands we have done that, and chances are it's the only copy in the world. Maybe there's a lot more, but no one knows where they are, or they're not easily accessible. And the idea that they're not valued, and that there might be 4 people who we don't know how old they are. They could be, one could have passed away, one might be in a nursing home, or whatever the story is. And all that kind of belief at one stage in something that they're doing, it's a lot of work to coordinate.
Have you spent a mozza on a beautiful website that nobody visits because they can't find you? Have you tried doing Google AdWords or Facebook ads with little or no result? Do you know that over 86% of small business owners don't know how to promote their own businesses online? It looks easy, so most businesses try to do it on their own, but they stop when they don't see immediate results, or worse, they waste thousands of dollars in advertising costs. The success or failure of your digital marketing campaigns depends largely on your overall strategy. Focus Growth is a leading Australian digital marketing strategist company that can market and promote your website without it costing you a fortune in time and money. They take the time to understand your business and only recommend proven strategies for your niche. For an exclusive offer to Power TV viewers, call Noah today on 0412 771 747 and get a free online strategy audit for your business.
Hi, this is Mick Jagger on
Classic Vinyl. This is Debbie Harrow from Blondie.
This is Jimmy Barnes here.
Stevie Nicks from Fleetwood Mac.
This is Reverend Willie G from ZZ Top.
The best tracks from the greatest albums of our generation.
That's right.
From your breakfast and coffee to your drive home.
We've got the classic hits that make your workday,
and you got a job to do,
go by a lot faster.
Hey, if we haven't said it lately, thanks for listening. The home of classic rock.
Don't touch the dial.
PowerFMradio.com.au.
Whether you're a professional musician, a weekend warrior, or just starting out, you need to talk to the experts at Royce Music. With over 35 years experience, Royce Toowoomba's oldest music store specialise in guitars, drums and sound equipment, and can even repair and maintain your equipment. Call them today on 46 327 377, drop into their showroom at 17 Bowen Street, or find them on Facebook. Royce Music, selling Toowoomba's finest musical instruments.
Councillors, I'll declare the meeting open. Thank you very much for your attendance. Welcome to our